At the age of 23, I have decided to no longer work full-time. This is like, my heart is racing to tell this story. Almost a year ago, but today is October 13th, it was actually October 18th, so almost a year ago, I was in a very bad place. And I'm sorry that I'm gonna get emotional about this, but a year ago, October 18th, I was in such a bad place. I was not happy, and I was honestly to the point where I was depressed. I had severe anxiety to the point where I didn't trust other people driving a car. I couldn't function in my day-to-day life. I just couldn't. And there were a variety of different things that caused it. It really started a few years prior, but it got to the point where everything in my life was hate. I hated who I saw in the mirror. I hated myself. I stopped working out. I stopped caring for my body. I would look in the mirror every night as I brushed my teeth, and I remember I would brush my teeth and I would pull up my shirt and I would look at myself and just think that you are disgusting. And that was honestly the thoughts that were going through my mind, and it was such a terrible place to be, and I wish that that would never happen to anyone, but the truth is that it does happen. And I decided that I needed to take control of my life, that I needed to change something so that life was actually worth living, because I was in that bad of a state where it just didn't feel like it was worth it. I was going through the motions every single day, and it just wasn't worth it. So on October 18th, I was at home with my dog. I remember this day, honestly, so vividly. We still have the couch that I was sitting on. It's actually currently in our basement. But I was sitting on a couch eating ice cream with my dog, and ice cream was my dinner. I had a MacBook at the time. I was on my MacBook and I was surfing through Pinterest, and you surf through Pinterest and you see a lot of blog stuff, so how to start a blog and everything else. And I was like, hey, I could do that. I could be a blogger. I could start a blog. So in that night, it was absolutely insane. In that night, I read a few articles. I clearly did not read enough articles. I read a few articles, I bought a domain, and I decided that THECONTENTBUG was going to be my website, and where I was going to share all of my digital marketing knowledge, which at the time I honestly did not have much knowledge. In comparison to what I know today, I almost look back and I laugh at myself. But I'm so glad I did it, because getting started is better than just waiting for it to be perfect. So I started my website. And my end goal was to create that website so that I could quit my job. So I've been working full-time for a company ever since I graduated college. So 2 days after college graduation, I started working, which was absolutely insane. And so many people told me that I was insane, that I should take a break and I should start working. But the reality of it was that I was actually in debt. I was working part-time in college, and it wasn't enough to compensate for my crazy spending that I love to shop, I can't help it. So I was actually in debt. I had my credit card completely full, and I was running on nothing. So I knew that I had to make money. I wasn't willing to sit at home, do nothing, not make money. So I may as well start a full-time job. So I started my full-time job 2 days after college. And honestly, I had no idea what it was going to be like. Like most college graduates, you go into a full-time position and you're like, oh yeah, I've worked all my life, I've had part-time jobs or I've had internships over the summer, but it's you really don't know what it's like until you're thrown in there, and I was honestly kind of caught off guard. So after working for that company for a while, I got to the point where I realized that I was so unhappy, which now is easy for me to admit. Back then, I probably would have never told you that, but I was so extremely unhappy in my life that I was just spewing out hate to the point where I honestly can't even imagine why my boyfriend is still with me, because I was so mean to him. I was very mean to my boss. I wasn't around for my family. I was in such a bad place myself that I couldn't honestly show love. And I've always been a big fan of journaling. And I've had a journal for a while, and if I go back and read read those journals, like, I would constantly say that I had nothing left to give. That I've given so much, I have nothing left to give. I don't know how to show love. I don't know how to really just care about anything. And it was such a bad place for me that I knew that my life had to change in some way, and I thought that the easiest way to change it was to change my career, which is absolutely insane to myself right now. Like, I think, and I'm like, why would you start with your career? Why wouldn't you start with focusing on your mind, or like getting in touch with your actual soul, or caring about your body? I mean, now that's stuff that's extremely important to me, but back then I thought that my career was like the root of all evil, which was extremely wrong. So I decided to create the Content Bug, and when I created the Content Bug, my goal was to end up turning it into a full-time position, was to make it my career. That's what I wanted. I wanted to create my success online, and I wanted to help other people do it through the knowledge of the digital marketing industry, content creation, blogging, social media, SEO, whatever it is. That was like my thought. So I started the website, and I put it out there on the website. I wanted to just send it out there so everyone knew that my end goal was to actually take it full time. And my boss knew that too, which is really awesome. And then I would no longer be working with that company. And we worked very closely with another company, so the other company ended up offering me a full-time job. So a few weeks ago, I found out that I was actually losing my position. And not in the sense that I was getting fired or anything like that, but I work at a small startup company, and the main guy behind it all decided that he wanted to pursue his passion instead of digital marketing fulfillment, move into digital marketing, more consultation and teaching and public speaking and sharing his knowledge, because he's so knowledgeable in that area, and he's honestly really good at public speaking. So it makes complete sense, but I was more on the fulfillment side, so it was kind of like, what's the point of still having me? So I found out that I was losing my position. Now, we work closely with another company, and that other company ended up offering me a full-time job, and I ended up spending that day bawling. It was such a terrible day for me because I was offered that full-time position, and I thought that my dreams were crushed. I thought that I couldn't take the Content Bug further, and I thought that I honestly had to give up on my dream of working full-time for myself and for this website. So, you know, it was like a major breakdown. And I decided that I no longer wanted to work full-time. I ended up not accepting that position, and I ended up deciding that I was going to work part-time, and if that meant working part-time for a couple companies, that's the way it was going to be. But I wanted to start dedicating more time to my website, towards my career goals, and doing exactly what I want to do, helping you guys grow online. And that wasn't going to happen if I was going to take another full-time position. I would have been completely strung out. I couldn't have done it. So I turned down a full-time position, and today, the day that I'm recording this, is actually my last day working as a full-time employee. Which is crazy, so crazy. But I'm 23 years old, and I have crazy career goals. I want to be working by myself, doing my own thing, creating. I am like such a creative person. I need to be creating every single day. Like, product development and stuff is like my deal. Creating new resources, creating courses, creating guides, whatever it is. That's like my favorite thing to do. It just excites me, because not only do I get to create, and I get to be like, I get to have fun with it, I get to design things, I get to just create something new in general, but I feel like I actually have a purpose, and I feel like I get to help you guys grow, and you know, it feels good. It feels good to feel like you have a purpose in this world instead of just floating through. So I'm no longer working full-time, and my goal is to actually never work full-time again. Which sounds kind of weird, but I would like to be able to say that I've never worked a day in my life. And I know that's not true, because I already view some of my work as work. But when I get to the point where I can work for myself, and it is just joy, and it is just creating, and it is helping others, and it's just chasing a passion, to me that's not going to seem like work. That's not going to seem like a full-time job. Sure as heck, it is actually going to be a full-time job, and it's going to be a lot of work, but to me it is totally worth it, and I love working. I honestly do. I'm one of those crazy people that loves to work. to create, to like talk to you guys, to just put things out there. Like, as a content creator, it's like the best thing in the world to me, and I love it. That's so crazy to admit.